Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Callie, and since today the day this video is coming out is June 1st, I'm gonna go over my June TBR, or at least part of it. I usually only do the first 10 books of my TBR, otherwise these videos get way too obnoxious. So, I'm going to get started. The Reread series that I am doing this month is the Curse So Dark and Lonely series by Brigid Kemmerer. Now, I chose this series for this month because Forging of Silver Stars, the new book in this world, drops this month, or just dropped. It's dropping soon. I'm not getting it until the end of July because I pre-ordered it for Polycon, but I also never finished this series. I read the first two and then I never got around to the last book. So I'm really excited to dive back into this. It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but instead of the usual, the twist of this one is that essentially they're realm hopping and they take a girl from our world and bring her into this fairy tale land, and she has to fall in love with the beast before a certain date. And I loved the first two books. Book one is from our Beauty's perspective. Book two is from the guard's perspective. From what I understand about book three is it is a mixture. So loved the first two. I have high hopes for the series, and I'm really excited for the new book to be dropping. Next, I have The Kinder Poison by Natalie May. This follows a world ripe with magic, and we follow our main character who dreams of having big adventures, but her magic is tied to animals, so she is essentially just this stable hand. And when the king announces this huge race between his heirs, ending in a human sacrifice, she wants to be a part of it. And by attempting to be a part of it, she finds herself being said human sacrifice by mistake. And she has to figure out a way through all these court politics and all of these dangerous, broody heirs to survive and not really be a human sacrifice at the end of this race. I've heard nothing but great things. I know Sarah really liked this book. I don't know if this is a completed series or if it was just a duology, but it's been on my radar for a long time. I've seen nothing but hype for this book, and I am so excited to finally dive in. Next, I have the second book that was a part of my Fairy Loot box for April, and that is An Arrow to the Moon by Emily X.R. Pan. This sounds like a magical realism, God meets mortal love story. I know very little about this book. I read the back and I still know very little about this book. We're following two teenagers, one whose arrow always shoots true, but then something happens. A supernatural wind happens, and she is now drawn to this supernatural boy, and I assume things happen. I'm excited. I have nothing to go off of with this book. I've heard Emily X.R. Pan's writing is really good. I've never read a book by her before, so I am intrigued. She has been on my want to read author list for some time, and now I have an excuse to read it. Plus, after I finish this book, I'll be fully caught up on Fairy Loot, and I'm really happy about that fact. Little sad the fact that I haven't got my May box yet, but happy the fact that I'm finally caught up on one of my book boxes. Next, I have a book that took a turn around book talk a while ago, back when book talk was very, very new, and that is the Octunnumi by Trevor Allen Foris. This book is just such a cool, you see the cool embossing. It's a very matte cover. We've got the stained edges. Even the inside pages are really cool. It came with so many things. I believe this is a bookmark with a pronunciation guide and a definition guide in the bookmark, and then, I don't think I've read this yet, this letter about the book. Yeah, this is really cool. From the gears that are everywhere on this, I believe this is a steampunk book. I heard mixed reviews on the Octunnumi, so I'm intrigued to put my own thoughts into it. And this is only the prologue to a series. I have heard nothing about a sequel, about a book one. I've heard nothing about a second book. I don't know if the sales weren't great, because you had to order this from a website. And it ended up being weird because when Sarah and I were we were both going to order, and then we saw it was you essentially got two books when you ordered one. And that's how we both ended up with a copy. And I have no idea. This book's a mystery, and I really want to be a part of that and figure out and form my own opinions on it. Next, I have Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom. I have never read this series. I've never seen the movie. I've heard about it. Like, I've heard nothing but great things about it. It's supposed to be weird, creepy, middle grade / YA book. But I've never actually read it. I believe, I don't know when this book came out. I think this came out when I was not in reading anymore. 2011. So I would have been in high school. So yeah, this may have been a little young for me or I felt I was too cool for school at that point, or only reading dystopians because that's around the time of Hunger Games and Divergent. That may be more along those lines. But I've always wanted to read it. And so I finally gone and purchased most of the series. I think I'm just missing the latest book. But like, this book's got pictures in it. I have really bad FOMO and I want to be a part. I want to know what the hype is around it. So I'm intrigued. We'll see how it goes. Next, I have Steel Crow's Saga by Paul Krueger. Honestly, the only reason I ever picked this up, I ended up picking this up. Is this a Book Outlet one? I don't see any lines. I want to say I got this on Book Outlet, but I originally saw it at Barnes & Noble right when it dropped. And honestly, what drew me to it is the excerpt on the top. It says, Pokemon combined with Avatar: The Last Airbender. I saw that and went, yeah, I'm gonna need that in my life. So that's what this is. It's gonna be elemental magic with Pokemon, and there's a bunch of animals all over the place, and I'm here for it. I am here for it. And this is a standalone, so I'm just super pumped to see what... I haven't heard a thing about this, but that's a combination. I need to know how it works. Next, I have Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. I ended up picking this up as my add-on for April's Book of the Month with Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, which is also on my TBR for this month. It's just later in the TBR. But this came out in March, and I was a little hesitant because I like to see reviews for I like to see reviews for everything, but especially romance novels, because I like to know what tropes I'm getting into. I like to know just kind of the different... Romance is weird, and I want to know what I'm getting into. And I've heard nothing but good things. I actually have a coworker of mine who we're both very into romance, and she read this and immediately texted me and was like, yeah, you need to read it. So it moved up on the TBR, and I ended up grabbing it for Book of the Month. And I'm really excited. It's giving me love hypothesis vibes with smart people, and I'm here for it. The last book that I have for my TBR is The Orphan Queen by Jodi Meadows. Now, I've been meaning to go through Jodi Meadows' backlist ever since I finished her Before She Ignites series, which was a while ago. I've actually had this book on my shelf for a long time because I became obsessed with Jodi Meadows. I still love Jodi Meadows. I haven't gotten her newest book, which is Night Trender, yet because I want to read more of her backlog, but The Orphan Queen seems like a very stereotypical 2012 YA novel about a girl rust into power. And I know that Jodi Meadows doesn't do the atypical stuff, so I'm really excited to see what kind of twist she will put on this. I believe this is a duology or trilogy. Either way, I'm going to read it because I absolutely love this author, and I saw a couple of reviews for this as one of the more underrated YA series, so I want to jump into it. Plus, sometimes YA books from the early 2010s hit different, and I'm ready for it again. So this is my official TBR for the month of June. I'm really excited to dive right in. May was an okay reading month. I DNF'd May had the most DNFs for the entire year so far. So I'm hoping that June is better. I still had a good reading month, a lot of 4 and 5 stars, but I don't like DNFing, and a lot of books just didn't hit me where I needed to be hit. I'm hoping June solves my problem. With that, that's going to be the end of today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, with the occasional Sunday, and I'll see you guys in our next video. Bye!